Welcome to Live Forever Young Radio. I am Raleigh Culp, here with Bob Gilpatrick as usual. Bob, how you doing?
Great, Raleigh. How are you?
Good, man. I'm doing really good.
Good. We got our matching Boomer Blue on today.
We're trying to coordinate,
Yeah.
We're doing an okay job, I guess.
We're better.
But anyway, so we had a really cool, I guess you could say, story that came across our news feed, and we wanted to go into it. A lot of you probably have heard a little bit about this, but we're going to go into some of the details. So there is we've talked about this on the show before, the weight loss drugs, semaglutide, Wegovy, but there's a new one now out by Eli Lilly called Zepbound.
Yep, right? Zepbound.
There you go, Zepbound. So it's brand new. It's obviously the newest entry into a giant industry now, which is the weight loss drug industry. Yeah. What are some of the specifics on it?
Well, it's the same concept as semaglutide. It's what's called a GLP-1 agonist.
Okay.
So it's a very similar drug, but new company entering into the mix. And
one of the biggest, literally.
Yeah. And what's different is that for the first time, there's going to be a shift in the way that these types of weight loss medications reach the patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's one of, I think, the biggest things about the story. I mean, obviously, it's a giant industry that's growing, and you've got another player here who's, again, like I said, probably one of the biggest. And they're not only going to enter it, but it sounds like they're going to try to change the game a little bit.
Yeah, they're creating a new portal that people can go into. It's already up and running now for about a week, right? It's a telehealth platform, and it's going to be called Form, like short for platform.
Right, okay.
Taking the end of it, FORM. And so what happens is people go on to Form, and they reach an independent healthcare provider that can make arrangements for their medication.
So they don't have to go to their own doctor?
No, that's correct. They don't have to go to their own doctor. They can use this telehealth. I don't know exactly how they're going to take possession of the medication, if it's going to be mailed to them or if they still have to go to the drugstore.
Interesting.
It doesn't say that in the article, but this is going to be this is creating a lot of opportunity, and it's creating a lot of controversy.
Now, this is you've seen Amazon and a bunch of these places have prescription delivery services, is where I think you actually have to get that information from your main doctor, right? Your primary doctor, your primary physician, and you have to get the okay for those prescriptions. Is this where you don't need to go through them to get this prescription? You just go to the form, talk to the doctor, and get it there?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Right. And the delivery part is, they don't talk about that in the article that we have, so that's yet to be seen.
That could maybe cause some treatment issues.
And there's some pushback from the American Medical Association. They believe in these drugs, and they're pushing for more insurance coverage, but they're also cautioning that if people are not doing this in conjunction with other factors that might be going on with them that their primary doctor or specialist would know about, that it could cause a problem. But nonetheless, it is going forward, and it's a huge thing because there's 42 million people in the United States with obesity.
Yes, it's actually one of our biggest epidemics here.
Yeah, and they know from a lot of studies, but they just completed a recent study regarding semaglutide or Wegovy, the brand name. They did this with 17,000 people. They did it over the course of almost 3 years, 33 months. And what they found was that even for people without diabetes, because these drugs were developed for people with diabetes to help lower their blood sugar. And it turned out they were releasing weight.
Yes.
And so now people are using it that don't have diabetes, and that's who they studied. And they found that there was a 20% reduction in cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, strokes, and deaths from those causes.
Interesting.
So they know that this is a big, big game changer. 20% is a lot. And that large of a study makes it so that it's pretty certain that this is the case. And so
Hmm.
some people are losing over 20% of their body weight using these medications. And so what they're saying is that this could be a huge savings for the industry, for healthcare in the United States. And they're saying over 10 years, $1 trillion,
Mm.
which is $100 billion a year. Now, Medicare doesn't pay for these drugs because they have for weight loss. They will for diabetes,
Sure,
but
right.
not for weight loss. There's a law that was passed in 2003, federal legislation, that forbids Medicare for paying for weight loss drugs. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to need to be changed if Medicare is going to begin paying for it.
Well, I
So
think a lot of the times the reason why they did that is because a lot of weight loss drugs were either not safe
yeah,
or they weren't effective.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
if you've got something that's not only shown to be effective in the weight loss, but it is helping people to 20% reduce their risk of these major diseases that end up costing us more millions of dollars, the savings,
yeah.
in that related to the cost of this drug would be, minimal.
Well,
Or maximum would be a good saving. Sorry, I said that in reverse.
yeah,
The cost of the drug would be minimal compared to the savings that you'd get.
yeah. So what the data on the other side looks like, they estimated that if you had 10% of the people on Medicare decided they wanted to take these drugs, it would cost about $20 billion annually
Mm.
for Medicare. The savings, on the other hand, are 5 times that, 100 billion savings to the entire healthcare system.
Because of the effects.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a 5 to 1 return on investment. So this is going to start to play out over this course of 2024 as to whether or not Medicare is going to start paying for this. Uh, what's going to happen with the Form,
Mm-hmm.
the telehealth platform?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't know how long, if they, depending on what happens, the form thing. It sounds like a good idea, but at the same time, if there's people getting treatments through their primary care doctor that aren't, maybe they don't disclose that to their doctor. It could cause a conflict in medication.
It could. It's also encourages people to not have a primary doctor that they go and visit that can actually see them and talk to them and
Mm-hmm.
help them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the AMA was also saying, is that, these teledocs are just going to arrange for the prescription. They're not going to be counseling them on other matters, such as how to become well nourished. What is your diet like? Are you exercising? What are your habits?
Right.
The other factors that have to be considered in regard to healthy bodies and healthy weight.
Right. I mean, from what it sounds like, the GLP-1 agonists, they work by basically reducing cravings.
Yeah.
And so, if that's how they work and you're not really being counseled on that, sometimes that effect could either get lost or be too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's also a placebo effect, right? So if a doctor says to the patient, you're going to be taking this medication and it's going to help reduce your cravings and you're going to be full faster and you won't need to eat as much food. So let's get started and put less food on your plate to begin with, because you're not going to want to eat all that food.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now what happens? You have this premature cognitive commitment in the person's mind. Oh, this is good. I'm going to have less cravings. I'm going to eat less food. I'll go ahead and start serving less food on my plate at dinner time. Well, that person's likely to be more successful than someone whose instruction is take this shot.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no suggestion that is going to help to facilitate the success.
It's also kind of like an expectation, because we actually, like our products, like the Barley, that's a 30-day ease-in period.
Yeah.
Right. So some people who start it, they might not understand or they might not go. So the counseling of that is key. And so
Right.
I could see how starting a medication like this, a little bit of counseling that not only the precognitive commitment, but just the expectation of how it's going to work.
Yeah.
You know what I
Both.
mean? Like
Absolutely.
it's going to work this way. So this is what you want to start doing to make it work more effectively.
Now, here's one other thing.
Excuse me.
When people get their medication, it's at a certain dose. And quite often, that is not the right dose for the patient. And they need to go back to their doctor. Why? Because there's side effects for a lot of people, and the dose is too much.
Mm.
So it's like, oh my God, I'm feeling so sick to my stomach, I can't continue taking this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, is the doctor going to be available to help them modify their prescription?
Yeah, the
their
follow-up.
Dose? Right.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
We don't know that yet.
Right.
But a lot of the people that take these GLP-1 agonists have to change the dose. They have to go back to their doctor and take less, or they also have to ease into it, just like our barley. Okay, we're going to start with this, and then after 3 weeks, you're going to increase to this, and after 3 more weeks, you're going to increase to this. And sometimes people don't start releasing weight until they've increased it a couple of times.
Gotcha.
Some people, that very first dose is too much,
mm-hmm.
and they have to go back
right.
to taking less. Now, when they take less, most of the time, people still do release weight,
mm-hmm.
right? So you don't have to take the full dose to release weight.
Mm.
It all depends on the person,
right.
and it all depends on how seriously they take it.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, actually. It really, everybody's body's different, and a lot of it does have to do with your commitment to it.
Yeah, and so here's what happens for some people is they start taking the shot, they have less cravings. Wow, I just lost 3 pounds.
Mm.
That's great. I need to lose 30, and I'm 10% of the way there. So they start paying attention to other things. They start watching podcasts on Live Forever Young Radio about weight release.
Mm-hmm.
They start watching other podcasts. They start paying attention to the labels of the food. They start thinking about, what am I going to do to stop eating sugar at nighttime while I'm watching TV?
Right.
Maybe less popcorn. And so they begin to pay attention because they're incentivized, they're enthusiastic.
Right. They're seeing the results quickly, right? Now, those people that don't see the results quickly, that's where having someone to follow up and having that's where the question comes in with this form, the teledoc is, are you going to be able to follow up if you're not seeing or if you have questions? That's, I think, an important thing, because we have people that if you have questions about how our products work or maybe how to take them as you're easing into it, you can call in and talk directly to us. And if you have questions or anything, we can help you with that. So I know how important that kind of thing is just in general. I mean, we're talking about a new weight loss drug that might have different effects for different people.
Yeah.
You got to have someone available, I would think.
Yeah. And so here's another part of this article we were reading. Up until 2 weeks ago, if you were to survey companies that have private health insurance plans for their employees, 25% of them would allow for reimbursement for these types of drugs.
Okay.
In 2024, the survey showed that 43% are going to offer reimbursement for these drugs.
Oh, wow.
So it's not going up by double, but almost.
Almost.
And as time goes by, when they realize how easy it might be using Form from Eli Lilly, you might see that number even go up more.
That's interesting.
So the other thing, probably, is this: if people are going to do this, I would suggest that you call us too, because there's other factors to be considered in regard to weight release, like the AMA said, diet, exercise, etc. And we can help people with that. How? First off, we have a whole podcast on weight release.
Yep.
We have a whole podcast on diabetes. We have a whole podcast on how to use foundational nutrition to get well nourished.
We also, I think, which is important because the drug itself works this way, is how to build better habits.
And we have that too. We have a whole podcast on habits. So just yesterday, I had a family come to visit here at the office, and that was one of the issues.
Mm-hmm.
The issue was sweets. So we said, okay, how are we going to work together, the family team, to help this one family member that's still having trouble with sweets? Now, they use our products, but they haven't watched the podcast on habits yet.
Right.
So I walked them through it. I said, here's how you watch it. You go here, you search like this. And here's 2 other podcasts I want you to watch. But while you're here, I'm going to walk you through how to do this.
Right.
And we use the ABC technique from Tiny Habits.
Right.
And for sweets, it was very simple. It's like, I said, what happens? Do you come in after work and you go straight to the refrigerator? Are you watching TV at nighttime and you have to have sweets while you're watching TV?
What's the trigger?
He goes, all of the above.
Okay.
So I said, let's just pick the refrigerator.
All right.
So let's say, for example, there's a sugary drink in the refrigerator, okay? Or a sweet treat of some type, ice cream, something like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a replacement for that. You're going to have a healthy drink, okay? Maybe something that involves mixing up your Barley and Boomer Boost, and that's your healthy drink that's right in the front of the refrigerator. So now you come in the door, and the other family member who's already home says, hey, remember, we're going to create a new behavior. That's the B. So the A is the actionable thing, which is coming in through the door.
Right.
The B is the new
basically?
Behavior,
right.
Which is instead of going for the sugar, we're going for something healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And the C is celebrate. So I said the first time that you pick up that healthy drink and drink it, you're going to make a gesture of celebration. Yes, I did it. Great. And I explained to them how what you celebrate, you tend to want to do more of.
Right.
So that's the basic gist of Tiny Habits. And if you are going to be somebody, whether you take this new Eli drug or you're taking semaglutide, you also want to learn to do Tiny Habits because it will potentiate the effect.
Right.
The other thing is of course, get really well nourished. Okay, because a lot of times people's cravings for extra sweets, carbohydrates, extra food, it's because they're malnourished. They're overfed but malnourished.
Right. We talk about it all the time. You could still eat too much and be overfed, but not have the nutrients that you actually need to give you the energy, repair your cells, help remove inflammation. And those are the things that actually speed up the aging process, right? If you're eating sugars or you're eating carbohydrates, that gives you short-term energy, but at a cost. I mean, you're getting a lot of free radicals, oxidation from the sugar itself being metabolized. And then you've got a problem of inflammation and you're still undernourished and you can't repair that and you want to eat more. And it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So if you get well nourished, you can stop the cycle.
Correct.
So that's why we have foundational nutrition where people want to get their Barley and Boomer Boost, which we have on sale right now.
Exactly.
Until the 16th.
Buy one, get one half off. Just threw it up on the screen.
Yeah. And also, it's really valuable if you also add in the other products or get your total health system because it's going to give you extra fatty acids, extra D3. So we had a customer going back many years now who was using our Barley and Boomer Boost, and she was still too tired to get up off the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And we were after her for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
Check your vitamin D level. She wouldn't take the vitamin D, and she wouldn't check her level. She finally gave in a year later, checked it. It was all the way down at 15, which is really, really low.
Super low.
She started taking vitamin D, and 3 days later, she got her energy back, and she was out dancing with her friends.
Yep, I remember that, actually.
That's why you want a total health system. Quite a while ago. You want a total health system because you never know which ingredient is going to be the magic one for you.
Catalyst, right?
Yeah. Yep. And we can't put enough vitamin D in the Boomer Boost for everybody. So there's a small amount in there, but each person needs to get their level checked and take the right amount for them. Right. And the fatty acids also provide energy, right? You can burn fat for fuel. You also are creating energy for your brain.
Right.
So if people are just feeling sluggish in their brain, maybe their body's okay, but they're like, yeah, I'm just feeling sluggish. My brain isn't working properly. Sometimes you have low electrical potential in your brain. When you take fatty acids, it helps increase the electrical potential. I won't go into all the details of that.
No,
but
that's why they say it's great for the brain.
it's great for the brain. It increases the electrical potential, and your neurotransmitters jump across the synapses more easily. They land at the receptor, and you feel better.
And you can think clear, more on your feet. One of the things, we don't put that in the boost either because it's actually, it's kind of a fishy thing.
Yeah, it makes products taste bad. So there's a little bit of powdered fatty acids in the Boomer Boost, but just the right amount that won't make it taste terrible.
Yeah.
And that's why when you buy a Total Health System, it's powders and a couple pill bottles,
right.
the D3 and the omega-3.
And don't forget the probiotics.
Yeah.
Gotta have that for.
And so
for gut health.
These are the types of things that will really help people, because exercise is a real key thing also for people in releasing weight, maintaining healthy weight, and maintaining health in general.
Correct.
You want to maintain your muscle mass, your bones, all of that. And the shot is not necessarily going to do that for you.
No.
So if you're well nourished and you feel energetic, you're going to be more likely to want to exercise and then gain all those other benefits of exercise. So whether or not you're going to use one of these drugs, make sure that you get in touch with us. Get your Barley and Boomer Boost, get your D3, omega-3, your probiotics, and watch those podcasts. Watch the one on habits. Watch the one on diabetes. Watch the one on circulation. Right?
Yeah.
Watch the one on foundational nutrition or supplement confusion.
Supplement confusion. Right. There's a whole bunch on boomerboost.com. If you just basically go there, either on mobile or on the desktop, blogs and podcasts is the section. But one of the easiest things to do is just go to the magnifying glass and search up one of the terms we were just talking about. Right. Tiny habits, and it'll bring up anything related to that.
So, Ollie, the other thing is if you're trying this and you're still stuck, give us a call. I'll give you an example why that's a good idea. Okay. So talking to somebody a while back and still feeling sluggish after all this time. And I always had the sense when I had spoken to him before that he was feeling a little depressed. So I said to him, we'll call him Joe. His real name was something else. Joe, what's going on with you? Why do I get the sense that you're feeling down? And he said, I've been feeling this way ever since my daughter died.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I said, Joe, it seems to me that we can give you all the best nutrition in the world, but unless we talk about this and help you to move through this grief type of thing, you're probably not going to get your energy back. And he started to cry.
Mm-hmm.
He was stuck, and he was still stuck about the death of his daughter so much that just talking about it drove him to tears. And so we helped him. At that point, I helped him use the emotional freedom technique, and we didn't even have a video on it yet.
Right.
And I taught him over the phone how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he started to feel better, right? And he did get his energy back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we have whole videos on how to learn the emotional freedom technique, how to learn how to do havening. If at that time I had known how to do havening, I would have used havening instead of the emotional freedom technique, and it would have worked even better.
Absolutely.
Right? And we only learned about that about a year ago.
Yeah, actually, that's a great podcast too. If you haven't heard of havening, it combines a lot of the ideas from tapping and then touch therapy into one thing. Hillary Russo. Actually, we interviewed her. We have a great interview with her. Yep. She's a certified havening technician or teacher. Practitioner.
Yeah.
Technician.
Hey, whatever. It is kind of technical.
It is definitely technical.
Especially when you get into the brainwave theories.
It is. It definitely is a technical thing. But it's really awesome. And these are the type of things that we call them tools in the toolboxes. You don't get a lot of this all in one place. You can find this at, go to YouTube and search this up. But if you go to our podcasts and blogs, we've got a nice collection of these type of things that can really take your supplementation to the next level. Because it's, one thing to take care of the body, but you got to take care of the mind and the soul at the same time. So we try to look at those parts too.
There you go. Well, Raleigh, thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in to Live Forever Young Radio. We'll see you next Thursday where we'll be going over some new stuff, and can't wait to talk to you then.
Yep. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.